Within the same 12-month window, the United States Senate, the European Union, Singapore, and Hong Kong all moved critical legislation forward to regulate a single asset class, stablecoins. Traditional financial institutions are also moving. Even Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, who famously labeled crypto a fraud, is now overseeing a bank that issues its own digital currency to facilitate trillions in internal transfers. To a casual observer, these headlines look like another cycle of speculative hype or corporate rebranding. Trillion-dollar institutions and sovereign states, however, do not usually rewrite their regulatory playbooks for a fad. These governments and megabanks are reacting to a shift in how money moves globally. They are adopting an if you can't beat them, join them strategy to maintain their position in a changing market. Stablecoins have moved from the periphery of crypto trading into the core of global finance. For the legacy guard, ignoring this technology is no longer a viable strategic option. Traditional cross-border banking is slow and expensive. Moving funds through the outdated global payment monopoly requires multiple intermediary banks, taking several days to settle while charging average fees exceeding 5%. Stablecoins settle on the blockchain, bypassing these intermediaries entirely. This chart shows the result. Cross-border stablecoin volume has reached $50 billion per month, and it continues to grow by nearly 30% every 30 days. The demand is not coming solely from corporate treasuries. Regular citizens in countries with failing local currencies use these tokens as a tool for financial survival. In nations suffering from hyperinflation, people lose their life savings as their local currency devalues. A stablecoin allows them to hold a digital version of the US dollar on their phone, shielding their wealth from local economic collapse. In Nigeria, the demand for digital dollars through peer-to-peer exchanges became so high that the government was forced to reconsider its ban. They realized that when the public chooses a parallel currency for daily trade, the state must eventually integrate it. This growth isn't a result of marketing. Stablecoins are scaling because they provide an immediate solution to the high fees and inflation that define the traditional fiat economy. From a business perspective, the model is straightforward. Issuers take in one physical dollar and issue one digital token. But if they don't charge transaction fees, how do they generate revenue? The profit engine is interest. Issuers take the billions of dollars deposited by users and invest that cash into high-yield, short-term government debt. The users hold the tokens for free, while the issuer keeps 100% of the interest generated by the reserves. This creates an enormous profit margin. Tether, the largest issuer, reported $13 billion in profit last year with a staff of only around 100 people. They are generating more profit per employee than almost any firm in history. Pegging the dollar to the blockchain is only the first stage. We are now entering the era of real-world assets, or RWA. This involves taking physical assets, like real estate or corporate bonds, and mapping them onto a blockchain. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, recently launched its first tokenized money market fund on a public blockchain. When a firm of this size enters the space, it signals that tokenization is becoming a standard for institutional finance. By capturing risk-free yields on billions in user deposits, stablecoin issuers have built a lucrative foundation for a future where all global assets move on-chain. For regulators, this technology creates a systemic risk called financial disintermediation. When liquidity leaves traditional bank accounts and moves into digital wallets, the existing banking structure loses its primary source of funding. If commercial banks lose these deposits, they lose the ability to issue the mortgages and small business loans that power local economies. This also threatens central banks. They manage national economies by adjusting interest rates and bank reserves. If money moves through private, decentralized stablecoins instead of the banking system, those central bank levers become less effective. This is why the European Union is implementing strict rules that ban stablecoin issuers from paying interest to their users. They are trying to prevent digital tokens from becoming a more attractive place to store wealth than a traditional bank. While users enjoy the speed of stablecoins, the technology drains the liquidity that has sustained the global banking structure and state financial sovereignty for centuries. If these tokens threaten traditional banking, we have to ask why the United States is moving to officially authorize them through the Stablecoin Genius Act. The motive is geopolitical. Because 99% of stablecoins are pegged to the dollar, Their global adoption effectively integrates foreign economies into the U.S. monetary system. Many nations are currently trying to de-dollarize their trade, but stablecoins act as a countermove. They allow foreign citizens to bypass their own local banks and use the US dollar directly on their phones. Finally, there is the debt. Every time a new user buys a dollar-pegged stablecoin, the issuer uses that cash to buy US Treasury bills. This means global crypto users are now a major source of funding for the American government. US Treasury officials openly acknowledge this advantage. They see stablecoins as a critical new source of demand for the nation's short-term debt, providing a strategic buffer for the American economy. By creating a constant demand for US debt and enforcing the dollar's reach in every digital wallet, stablecoins serve as a strategic Trojan horse for American financial hegemony.